concerning. And in fact, a lot of people are very worried about a cluster of COVID cases in Brooklyn.
Yeah, the alarming increase may lead to a lockdown like we had at the beginning of the pandemic to stop the spread of the virus. So joining us this morning is Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams to talk about this and more. Good morning to you, sir.
Dan, good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So before we discuss the COVID cluster in South Brooklyn, I want to discuss what's happening in the overnight hours and yesterday involving Breonna Taylor's case. In a tweet last night, you said that the officers need to be held accountable. And I have to ask, as a former officer yourself, do you believe that they should have all been charged? Because we have seen this play out time and time again where officers just are not charged.
Yes, I do. And keep in mind, a grand jury indictment is not a guilt or innocent verdict. It merely means that there's enough evidence to prosecute the case, and then the entire case will take place in a trial where all the evidence is revealed, not held in secrecy. So I believe they should have been a trial to determine exactly the extent of actions of all the officers that were involved.
So it sounds like there's a long way to go in this. Protests, though, in the meantime, gotten violent in Louisville. 2 officers were shot last night. Protesters, as you know, took to the streets in Brooklyn with more calls for defunding the police. Communities of color, they are hurting. What can be done? What do you suggest? I mean, looking through your eyes as your current position, but also as a former police officer, what can be done here?
Well, first, I want to commend the protesters here who peacefully protest. They utilize their right to protest. I'm extremely appalled at the shooting of those 2 officers that took place. That's unacceptable. You do not correct violence with violence, and no one should be discharging weapons at other people in this country. But I also know the level of outrage that people are feeling when the criminal justice system is not handing down real actions moving forward where we could determine the full extent of the evidence that's available. I think the no-knock warrant, without determining that these officers comply exactly to the rules of the no-knock warrant, is something that needs to be examined. But most importantly, we need to revamp how we change what I call the entire ecosystem of public safety. It can't be just heavy-handed policing.
I hope it happens sooner than later, because I feel like we've been talking about it for quite some time, and it has yet to change, sir. Thank you for that topic. I want to get to this other big story here happening in your borough, the COVID clusters in South Brooklyn in particular. Last week, we saw pockets of COVID cases in Sunset Park. This week, we're hearing of more cases along Ocean Parkway, Williamsburg in particular. Very different neighborhoods here, but we've been talking about specific neighborhoods in Brooklyn since the beginning of the pandemic in terms of mask compliance. So what are you seeing? You were out and about last night going neighborhood to neighborhood.
About a 80% non-compliance rate in just mask alone. And it was a rarity to actually see someone wear a mask. And I was interacting and speaking with some of the people that were walking the street and letting them know that the rates are high. We're almost near a 5% in some of these neighborhoods.
And what are you hearing? What are you hearing in terms of them saying, well, this is why I'm not wearing it?
Yeah.
A combination of things. People stated that it's difficult to find, difficult to breathe with it on. Oh, I forgot it at home. There are really so many excuses for not wearing, but there's only one excuse to wear it, and that's because it will save lives. And I just wanted to really speak with the leaders. I'm going to set up a meeting with some of the leaders in those areas so that we can sit down. They must get engaged. We have to do this on a community grassroots level to really show that we can bring this compliance number up.
Is it more than that, though? I mean, should the fines start to really be enforced so people know that you have to adhere to the rules, or should there be a lockdown?
I think it should be a combination of things. The mayor has made it clear that if we go above 3%, we're going to close the schools. And in addition to that, I think that we can't have a one method. I think fines, the right way to give those fines. Second, having local leaders be a part of it, and then engage community residents where they are and ensure that everyone is compliant.
And I also want to talk to you about the other big topic, and that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah. And for past 2 years, you and your team have really been pushing to have the Brooklyn Municipal Building named after her. It's finally happening here. But talk to me about the journey getting to this point.
I'm extremely pleased with the action, what Ruth Bader Ginsburg meant to all of us. Often we highlight her life and how she fought for equal rights to all and how it impacted women, but it also impacted boys and girls as well. The benefits that my mother received just signing a mortgage without having to have my dad's approval, it saved and impacted my life. And so now we're finally getting it done. I'm a little disappointed that City Hall took such a long time. This should have been done a long time ago, but I'm happy that finally we're going to name a building after a person that was really one of the greatest members of the greatest race alive, and that's the human race.
I love that your mother was a beneficiary of her impact. You are turning that around and trying to get this done on RBG's behalf. Yeah. It's a beautiful story. Thank you, Eric Adams. We always appreciate
Real quick, I just want to ask him one question. You brought up City Hall. And we've talked about this time and time again here. And now we have Scott Stringer officially in the race. Will you be throwing your name officially in the ring to be running for candidate of mayor?
You going to do it?
You will be the first to know when we make an official announcement. We are putting all the pieces together. I'm happy to see the level of support that I have received. And it's about first dealing with this real COVID issue, and then we can move forward for 2021. But we have a presidential race that we must win, and we have to get people back employed and get our city.
But if someone was a betting person, if someone was a betting individual, could they bet that you're going to throw your hat in the ring?
If they're a betting person, they need to stop betting and start using their money correctly.
Okay, well, but let's use your words. You said we would be the first to know. That means we get the exclusive on this, right?
Yes.
I said you'll be one of the first to know.
Oh, it's always one of. All right. Eric Adams, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.